Hey, all you Greta's and Shatezcats out there. Welcome to, let's put me down here, Unit 5, Section 5. We're getting into irrigation. So irrigation is 70%-ish of all freshwater use. So if we could find a better way to get water to our crops or find a way to have less crops, then we would be fixing a lot of our freshwater use. Once again, about 68% of all of our rivers, lakes, and groundwater goes to agriculture. About 20% goes to our houses, 10% goes to power, and 3% is lost in evaporation. But most of our fresh water on this planet is going to our food. But is it going as efficiently as it could? No. So it does increase productivity. 16% of agriculture land is irrigated, which produces about 40% of the world's food. So obviously we need to water our crops. I get that. If we get waterlogged, so sometimes in the spring and the summer we get too much rain. If a plant gets waterlogged, the roots can't get enough oxygen, so you can drown your plants, which is bad. Salinization, I mentioned a round or two of notes ago. Too much salt is left behind through either evaporation, which is the main thing, or saltwater intrusion. If you happen to be close to a coast and you're taking too much fresh water out of the groundwater, it can actually pull saltwater in from the coast, and now you've got saltwater in your groundwater. You can't use it anymore. Salt is toxic for plant growth. So there you go. Efficiency. The percentage of water that reaches the plant roots and is not lost to evaporation or runoff. So there's different ways to irrigate your crops, and that come in different efficiencies. So furrow irrigation, you make furrows. You build trenches and you fill them with water. It's about, well, you can't see them all. This is about 60% efficient. It's very low effort, it's fairly cheap, but you do end up with waterlogging and salinization. So yeah, it's cheap and easy, but you're not getting the best outcome. You can also have what's called flood irrigation. You flood the field and you let the water soak in evenly. This is about 70 to 80% efficient of the water getting to the roots. It is, once again, easy and cheap, but then you also do have to still deal with the waterlogging and the salinization. Spray irrigation. This is pumped through to nozzles, like sprinklers, and this is anywhere from 75 to 95% efficient. So yes, much more efficient, but it's going to use money and more energy to do the spraying, because you need to fuel the pumps that are doing the spray. You can also have drip irrigation. This is the best one. So slowly dripping hose that is either buried or on top. But if you think about, the roots are what absorbs the water. So why don't we put the water at the roots, and then we're not wasting it on the top of the plants? So this is over 95% efficient. So if you at your house were to get these drip hoses and just bury them a few inches down in your gardens, you would be set and you would use so much less water. So they are the most efficient. They do help reduce weed growth. It keeps the soil surface dry where the weeds are going to grow and everything's underneath. And it's especially useful in perennials because those roots go deeper and deeper. This is the most money. And depending on how big of a farm you get, if you plow, you might need to remove them to plow, and that's going to be an extra cost and effort. But this is, once again, the best. So if you were going to have a small garden in your backyard, I would recommend drip irrigation. So talk to your grown-ups. Here is the Ogallala aquifer, which is really fun to say. But it is massively being used up way faster. Let me put me in the middle. You can change in the water, see the water levels. This is where it used to be. So a couple areas have actually gone up in Nebraska, but most areas have massively declined. And this is where a lot of our crops are being grown. So as the Ogallala aquifer continues to get smaller and smaller and smaller, you're going to have the water prices go up and up and up, and the food prices go up and up and up. There's a video that I will show you on Canvas, and we have survived yet another round of notes. So before I go, I want to let each and every one of you know that you are good enough, you are smart enough, and people do like you. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good God, do your homework.